copy from our bookstore because I don't want to go back. I want to add on because there's more, Because not only did this 8 years of giving open me up to the experience of connectedness and joy, it reminded me of a whole bunch of things. It reminded me that giving has definitely got something to do with receiving. There's a connection. And it reminded me that I always have something to give. And that I forget that something that I have to give is love. And it reminded me that God is love. And it reminded me of that commandment that says, don't be putting other things ahead of God in your life. Don't be making anything else more important than God. So do you want to know what the secret is? I'll tell you what the secret is, in my opinion. Here it is. Forget about money and riches and worship God. Because God is love. Worship that. And then you will have everything you ever need to be alive. As the world happens around you in its mysterious, paradoxical way. And then when you are centered in that, then you can put money in its rightful place. As an agent for life's power and possibility. Then it becomes a means that you can use to end suffering in the world. Then it becomes something that you can direct to raise the quality of human life. I mean, don't get me wrong, money is beautiful. It can go places we cannot go. It can do things we cannot do. But don't be mistaken, it is not God. God is love. God is not money. God is love. You see? And then the word worship will help us understand that. Because the word worship is adore, respect, be devoted to. So you take love then and you hold it in high esteem. And then see how that takes you and plonks you down slap bang in the center of the law of attraction. Pow. You cannot get or give enough money that will do for you what love will do for you. Respecting love, God in one of its forms. Now, I'm not talking about clinging, controlling, possessing, lusty, needing. I mean, that's not love. That's biology. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's not what I'm talking about. You get what I mean? I'll talk about that in a different series. I'm talking about something else. Love, By the way, do you know what the law of circulation is? Because there's a lot of talk about it nowadays. It's basically common sense. What goes around comes around is what it is. And frankly, the very best description of the law of circulation I ever found is in the Bible, Yep. Might as well get it up so we can have a look at it. There it is. Luke, Won't you read it with me? Here it goes. Give, and it shall be given unto you in good measure, pressed down and shaken together and running over. For with the same measure that ye meet, it shall be measured to you again. Now, bear with me for a moment, and if you don't mind, just forget about money and riches. And think about what God is. God is love. And then think about applying that scripture to the only thing that you have. There you have it. And one of the things that you discover when you apply that is you've always got something to give. And then when you do, It's pressed down, and it's not that it comes from outside and from other people and from circumstances, that something happens inside of you. And that something that you have is your capacity to love. You have it. The only thing that you do have. To me, this message is powerful because it's talking about an inside experience, but I see how it relates to the world around me also. I see that when I set something in motion, what I set in motion has an uncanny resemblance to what comes around in my life. I see that. But the scripture is very helpful because it says it's in particular what you want to pay attention to is the measure. Now people think measure, measure, stick, inches, centimeter. No. Measure means attitude in which you do a thing. That is what establishes the nature of the returning action. That's the metaphysics of it, and I think it's exactly where people get tripped up a little bit, because they want to start working the law of circulation, They want to start working the law of attraction to get rich. And then in doing that, they put God second, fifth, 15th, So I come back to the measure means the awareness. What's in your awareness when you're doing something? Or the motive underneath why you're doing something. Why are you doing it? Because it's that right there. That's where it is that's determining what's going on. So I tell myself, don't think you can trick the universe into making you rich when you don't want to deal in the only currency that it recognizes. Loving kindness. It's the clue to understanding the law of attraction. It's not only what you do that matters, it's how you do it in your own mind, because that's the only place that's going to count. Like the manner in which you give a gift, for example. It has everything to do with the results that come from giving that gift, both inside of you and the world around you. If you already know this, if you've ever been on the receiving end of a controlling gift. Oh, you've had one. I've given a few. You want to create hell? Give a gift with control as your motive. Creates more hell for you than it does anywhere else. Because you know what? Life and people will not be controlled by our giving. I wish it weren't so. Yeah, also, for example, if you give a little, choose anything. Love, attention, time, service, respect, money. You give a little, but your motivating awareness is you want to get a lot. That's the measure with which you meet, right? You want to get a lot. You can be sure what you're setting in motion is the creation of people, situations, and organizations who give you a little in order to receive a lot from you. Have you been there? With the same measure that you meet in consciousness, in attitude. So I started to pay attention to my attitude, the spirit in which I was giving, whatever it is I was giving, and how very much more important that attitude was than the actual gift itself. Because the gift doesn't necessarily change the world. The world goes on. What's going on inside? And even taking that to money, I'm talking about money right now. I applied it successfully to my giving practice because I started with an amount that I could truly, joyfully set free. Because I read it. I want to be authentic in that. I want to feel the love. It's very important. And then build upon that practice and over time developed it into a habit I can feel good about. Starting where I was and moving up at my own pace, And that gave me the space to carefully examine the atmosphere in which I was giving whatever it is I was giving, so that I could come to clarity about my intention. And I discovered there is truly a difference between giving for the joy of giving and giving with a hidden motive to control, to influence, to get rich, to get attention,